Wait, Cardi B just dropped some real talk about her biggest parenting fear, and honestly, it's so relatable it hurts. The queen of Bodak Yellow and making money moves just revealed what would absolutely devastate her as a mom. And it's not what you'd expect from someone who lives in mansions and rocks Birkin bags like they're grocery store tote bags. We're talking about a woman who's built an empire from nothing, who's conquered the music industry, who's got more chart toppers than most artists dream of, and her worst nightmare as a parent is surprisingly down-to-earth and honestly, kind of inspiring. Cardi's expecting baby number 4 with her new man Stefon Diggs, and she's getting real about what she hopes for her kids, and what absolutely terrifies her about raising them in a world of wealth and privilege. If you're ready to hear why one of hip-hop's biggest stars is worried about her kids being lazy, and what that says about success, ambition, and keeping it real even when you're rich as hell, then stick around because this conversation is about to get deep. But first, smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, because Celebrity Treadmill brings you the realest celebrity stories. And trust me, you don't want to miss what Cardi's about to teach us about parenting. Let's set the stage because Cardi B's life right now is absolutely wild in the best way possible. Just a month ago, she confirmed that she's pregnant with her 4th child. And here's where it gets interesting. This is her first baby with NFL star Stefon Diggs. For those keeping score at home, Cardi already has 3 kids with her ex Offset. Kulture, who's 7, Wave, who's 4, and Little Blossom, who's only 13 months old. So we're talking about a blended family situation that's about to get even more blended. And Cardi's navigating all of this while being one of the biggest names in music, fashion, and pop culture. This woman doesn't do anything halfway. And apparently, that includes both her career and her approach to motherhood. On October 6th, Cardi sat down for an appearance that gave us way more than we bargained for. She wasn't there to promote a new single or talk about her latest fashion moment. She was there to get real about parenting. And when Cardi gets real, you better pay attention because she doesn't hold back. And what she revealed is something that every parent, whether you're a Grammy-winning rapper or working 3 jobs to make ends meet, can probably relate to on some level. Her worst fear, the thing that would be the worst disappointment, as she put it, is refreshingly simple and surprisingly profound. She doesn't want her kids to be lazy. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh great, another rich celebrity complaining about first world problems, let's unpack what Cardi's actually saying here, because it's way deeper than it sounds on the surface. She literally said, please don't be lazy. 3 words that carry so much weight when you really think about them. This is coming from a woman who went from being a stripper to becoming one of the most successful female rappers of all time. This is someone who clawed her way out of the Bronx through sheer determination, hustle, and refusing to accept the limitations that society tried to place on her. When Cardi talks about not wanting her kids to be lazy, she's not talking about them getting straight A's or becoming doctors. She's talking about work ethic, drive, and understanding that nothing in life comes for free, even if you're born into money. Here's where it gets really interesting and honestly kind of heartbreaking in a way. Cardi's kids are growing up in a completely different world than she did. They've got money, privilege, access, and opportunities that their mom could only dream about when she was her age. Kulture at 7 years old probably has a closet worth more than most people's houses. Wave at 4 has already been on private jets more times than most of us will fly commercial in our entire lives. And Blossom, at barely over a year old, was literally born into wealth that most people can't even comprehend. That's amazing for them. But it's also Cardi's biggest challenge as a parent. How do you instill hustle and work ethic in kids who've never had to hustle for anything? This is the paradox of success that nobody really talks about. You work your entire life to give your kids a better life than you had, to make sure they never struggle the way you struggled, to provide them with every opportunity and advantage. But in doing that, you also risk raising kids who don't understand the value of hard work because everything's been handed to them. It's like that old saying about how the first generation builds the wealth, the second generation maintains it, and the third generation loses it. Cardi's terrified of raising kids who take everything for granted, who don't understand that their lifestyle isn't normal or guaranteed, who think money just appears without effort. What makes Cardi's perspective so valuable is that she's only one generation removed from struggle. She remembers exactly what it was like to not have money, to fight for every opportunity, to be underestimated and overlooked. Those memories are fresh and real for her in a way they won't be for her kids. Kulture, Wave, and Blossom will grow up hearing stories about mom's come up, but stories aren't the same as lived experience. They'll never know what it's like to worry about rent or to choose between paying bills and buying groceries or to feel like the world is stacked against you. That's a blessing, but it's also a challenge when you're trying to raise grounded, hard-working humans. The timing of this revelation is also significant because Cardi's about to add another baby to the mix, and this one comes with the added complexity of a new relationship. Stefon Diggs is himself a successful NFL player, which means this baby is going to be born into double privilege and double the expectations. Two parents who are at the top of their respective games, who both achieve incredible success through dedication and hard work. The pressure on this kid to not be lazy is going to be intense, but so is the temptation to coast on their parents' success and wealth. Let's also talk about what Cardi means when she says lazy, because I don't think she's talking about kids who occasionally sleep in or don't want to do their homework. She's talking about a fundamental lack of ambition, a lack of drive, a lack of that fire that pushed her to the top. She's talking about kids who grow up thinking they don't need to work for anything because mom and dad have already made it. She's talking about entitlement, complacency, and the loss of that hungry mentality that separates people who achieve great things from people who just exist. That's what terrifies her, and honestly, the money moves reference is so perfectly Cardi because it ties back to her brand while also making a serious point. Cardi expects her kids to make their own money moves, not just benefit from hers. She wants them to have their own ambitions, their own goals, their own hustle. She doesn't want them to be known as Cardi B's kids for their entire lives. She wants them to be known for their own accomplishments. That's a tall order when your mom is one of the most famous people on the planet, but it's also incredibly admirable. Here's what's so refreshing about Cardi's honesty. She's not pretending parenting is easy or that she has all the answers. She's admitting that she's scared, that she's worried about messing this up, that she knows her kids face unique challenges because of who their parents are. A lot of celebrities try to present this perfect image of their family life, like everything's sunshine and rainbows, and their kids are perfect little angels. Cardi's keeping it real and saying, "Look, I'm worried my kids might turn out to be lazy and entitled brats, and that would break my heart." That vulnerability is rare in celebrity culture, and it makes her so much more relatable. The blended family dynamic adds another layer to all of this. Cardi's 3 older kids are all with Offset, and that relationship ended in a very public, very messy way. Now she's building a new life with Stefon Diggs, and they're about to have a baby together. How do you maintain consistent parenting standards and values across 2 households with different dynamics? How do you make sure all 4 kids grow up with the same work ethic and understanding of money and success? It's complicated, and Cardi's navigating it all while the entire world watches and judges her every move. What's also interesting is thinking about what specific behaviors Cardi's trying to prevent. Does she worry about her kids becoming Instagram influencers who just post selfies and call it work? Does she worry about them living off trust funds without ever pursuing their own passions? Does she worry about them becoming the kind of rich kids who throw money around without understanding its value or where it came from? All of the above, probably, because she's seen what happens to kids who grow up with too much privilege and not enough purpose. Hollywood and the music industry are full of cautionary tales about children of famous parents who struggled to find their own identity and ended up spiraling. The pressure Cardi's putting on herself here is also worth acknowledging. She's essentially saying that if her kids turn out lazy, she'll feel like she failed as a parent. That's a lot of weight to carry, especially when you consider all the factors that influence how kids turn out that are completely beyond a parent's control. Kids have their own personalities, their own challenges, their own paths. You can do everything right as a parent and still end up with a kid who doesn't share your values or work ethic. But Cardi's taking full responsibility, which is both admirable and potentially setting herself up for unnecessary guilt. Thanks for watching Celebrity Treadmill.